what is this show called?
It's actually called Lord of the
Rings.
Rings of Power.
I'm not gonna say colon.
Colon.
Aren't
we all supposed to get colonoscopies in our 30s?
Welcome to Was It Good, the podcast that reviews movies and TV shows. Today we are reviewing the first season of Amazon's biggest, most expensive show, Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. I'm Ravi, as always joined by my two brothers.
I have been known by many names. Arjuna.
And I'm Krishna.
Wow. You've completely thrown off my terrible flow. How long have you been working on that? Since
10 seconds.
10 seconds?
Yeah, I was like, I could do this, or I could do something with Sauron. And I'm like, what does he say? Oh, he's like, I have been known by many names. I didn't remember any of the lines after that, but that's what I went with.
Big thing, obviously, right off the bat, because we're reviewing the entire season. There's going to be spoilers galore. There will be theories galore. Sorry?
I haven't seen it.
Why the fuck are you on this podcast then?
Just thought it would.
You
I just wandered in. I was like, this looks fun.
This is nice. This is a nice little setup we've got here. I'll just walk in. Specifically, though, I bring that up because, right off the bat, our main guy, this season has been very much like WandaVision, where every other frame, it's you pointing at the TV saying, that's Sauron, that's Sauron, that's a person of Sauron, that's going to be this person who talks to Sauron. Very much like WandaVision with Mephisto.
They call it mystery box TV.
Yes.
That's the kind of the industry term, if you will. The mystery box, the mystery of it all that drives a thing.
Thank you, J.J. Abrams.
I am J.J. Abrams.
He brought us that term, yeah.
J.J. Abrams.
But right off the bat, the show started out, I texted you all, and I did the eye emoji because within the first 5 minutes, we hear, hey there, stranger guy, or Lord Sauron. Did anyone, was everyone taken aback when that happened?
Say what?
When the stranger was referred to as Sauron.
Oh.
Did you not watch the last episode?
Oh, yeah. But I didn't, I felt like that came later in the episode.
It was in the first 5 minutes.
It felt like the first 5 minutes.
It was like 20 minutes in. But
yeah,
I was like, no, that can't be it.
You thought it was a bluff?
Yeah. I was like, they're misidentifying this guy. This guy's not all bad.
Yeah, I was taken aback for like half a second. I was like, wait, it forces you to real quickly reframe the whole, how you've seen him this whole season. And you're like, oh, have I been misled? And then after like another half second, you're like, no, they are probably wrong. This isn't Sauron.
This is just the homeless guy that fell from the sky.
Exactly. This is Gandalf the Grey.
Yeah, that's the connection right there.
This is stupid Gandalf.
Oh my god.
Hey, he can talk.
He's forming complete sentences. Yeah, he's got complete sentences.
He's giving out his,
it's quite a jump. Actually,
he's giving his his good little pieces of Gandalf advice by the end.
Yeah,
always follow with your nose.
The first time you see him speak, he's not, he's like making guttural sounds, and now he's giving like full on textbook wisdom. It's quite the jump there.
I think it was in the actor's clause. He's like, I have to be talking full sentences by end of season 1.
It was the cult that did it, right? Like, because they were like, open his eyes.
I think they started to. They started to. It seems like, and then
Totally.
that helped him speak English.
Well, he was forming full sentences earlier in the season. Obviously, they weren't. They were not the level of like wizard philosophical type sentences, but
sure,
he was still able to articulate or say what he wanted to say and kind of help where he needed to help. But looking at the entire season as a whole, and obviously this being kind of like our big recap of the whole season, how would you describe it in one word?
Ooh,
has anybody done their homework and figured that out, or are we going with the literal gut reaction here?
We could, it could be both.
I'm going to go first because I already got mine.
Oh, wow. Good for you.
excellent.
Money. This show has been straight up money in the sense, using it as like an adjective where it's like really top notch, really well done, visually stunning. And then you realize that's because a lot of money was put into this. And you know what? Props to them. I think there was only maybe one. Actually, you know what? I can't even remember of one like bad CGI where I was kind of taken out, where I was like, "This is so bad, I have to stop being immersed in this world and look at how terrible it was." That did not happen at all. There were definitely some filler episodes here and there, but even those still ended really, really well. So yeah, the show was straight the whole season, straight money.
Wow.
Straight
I like
cash, homie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Randy Moss.
I wish I had some money to just like.
Like one of those
Yeah,
little
right,
money
right.
guns.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that would have been
The
really,
The
really
power
good.
of editing.
Yeah, exactly. Rain some money.
Bad money emoji goes here, 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 here.
Christian, do you have a one-word impression?
I'm gonna man, this is lame, but I'm gonna say Halbrand.
That's not a word.
That's
It's
a
a
name.
name.
Yeah, a name is a word. So yeah, I'm gonna say
Okay,
Halbrand.
Gandalf.
I mean, I'm gonna say it for a few reasons. It was like both my favorite and maybe least favorite part of the season. So I thought it was fairly obvious, maybe by like episode 3, probably episode 3 is when I'm like, that's Sauron, like that's, or at least he's an agent of Sauron. He's just not who he claims to be. So I kind of saw that coming. So Jenny used the word mystery box television. So for me, like that mystery felt not so mysterious. That being said, I really like the actor who plays Halbrand. I thought did like a really good job there of showing that transformation and conveying sort of Sauron's ego and manipulation and how they did it as well, like with the effects, like when Galadriel and Sauron are on the raft and he just transforms his I forget the exact words, but he's like becomes Sauron and he's like, you don't have a choice. And I thought that was super well done, and that they didn't draw that out too much either. So that's gonna be my word, because that's the thing I remember the most about this season, is sort of seeing them show Halbrand and then show that transformation a little bit.
I'm glad they didn't drag out these mysteries into season 2, right? I think the two central mysteries of the show, as we were going through, were who was the stranger, who was Halbrand, right? And the popular theories were correct. The stranger, even though he's not confirmed as Gandalf necessarily, we do know he is the Ishtar. He's one of the 5 wizards, right? Most likely Gandalf. And then obviously Halbrand being Sauron, being literally confirmed, to us a couple times. So
Can I fight you on that one?
which one? Oh,
Halbrand being Sauron.
okay, sure. Go ahead.
And the reason I want to, okay, and then, and again, hold on. And I want to, my disclaimer ahead of this is I've not read any of the extra material beyond the original Lord of the Rings trilogy and The Hobbit. Those are the only 4 books that Tolkien wrote that I've ever written.
They're also the only 4 books you've ever read.
Yes, in my entire life.
Yeah.
And Star Wars Episode 3. And the Thanos saga. Like, do comic books count? Because I've read a lot of comics.
Yeah, I mean, they technically you read words.
They're picture books.
They are picture books. They are heavy picture.
But anyway, my disclaimer: this is I've only read those 4 Tolkien books, so I am not super familiar with the
appendices
or anything like that. And the other thing too is, I think we should have said this at the beginning of the pod. This pod is strictly on what Amazon has given us with Rings of Power. So in all that extra stuff, I hate to say it doesn't really matter when we are discussing this pod.
We're not
because
book experts.
We're not book experts. And the reason I say all that is because Halbrand saying, I go by many names, Sauron, etc., etc. There's also this guy, Adar, right? Running around, and we all thought, oh, that could be Sauron or agent of Sauron, and he claims he killed Sauron. And there's all this like, he Sauron, she Sauron, that's Sauron, I worked with Sauron. I'm starting to wonder if we're not being shown the real Sauron, and instead we're just being shown followers and nut jobs that worship and idealize Sauron or work for Sauron.
Like a cult.
Because Sauron is very much, as is like Mogarth and what they do and how they've been explained, it is very cult-esque. So I do wonder if Halbrand being Sauron isn't as necessary as straightforward. And again, this is more me just kind of throwing a wrench in that because why not?
I think it would be a little strange for them to build up the whole
Sauron.
episode 8 and like this is the Sauron reveal and the whole confrontation with Galadriel to just be like, oh, just kidding. And I think there was so many clues being Halbrand is Sauron. I thought the biggest one was in episode 6 after the battle in the Southlands where Halbrand and Adar have some of their confrontations and he's like, you remember me? That's what Halbrand says. And Adar's like, who are you?
Right.
Like, who?
Yeah.
He's like, did I kill your, he wrongly thinks that, like, did I kill your family or something? And then you have the scene with Galadriel and Adar, and he's like, and I cut down Sauron. And then you see Halbrand pull Galadriel away. And then Adar is like, wait, who are you?
Right.
And then walks away. And that, to me, was a confirmation of, like, that is definitely Sauron.
So
like, that is definitely the guy he cut down. He's mad at this guy not because he killed anyone. He killed him. He cut him down. This is the confrontation.
So is Sauron
that to me would be a little weird if they were
Right.
just like, oh, just kidding. This isn't.
Sure, but I guess
Sauron.
my other question though with like Halbrand being Sauron is like the Sauron of this world, is he kind of like Anubis in Stargate when he lost his corporeal form and was this floating black goo thing and taking people's bodies over? Like, is he a parasite or is he actually a
Gandalf.
physical?
I think there's a clue.
He's magical.
He's
The-
Gandalf.
I think the clue is that when the 3 magical ladies in white find supposed Gandalf, they suggest like we need to lift the veil, right? We need to restore your
veil.
memory. You fell from the sky, and they think he's Sauron. So
Right.
the implication there, or the assumption, is that they think Sauron's not going to have his memory. He is being some sort of like rebirth, or he's coming from a different place.
So like
So
reincarnated.
that's an implication, right?
essentially.
That's a what does that
Sauron
mean?
isn't like a mortal man.
No,
I
he's
get
not.
that.
He's not even
I
an
get
elf. He's
that.
he
he's
and
this,
Gandalf are
like-
the same
yeah.
beings.
They're like
Ish-
these. They're these.
Ishtar?
God,
No,
Ish-
no, that's the movie.
Yeah, they're like these godlike figures, right? Like they
Right.
can take form. They can take human. They can take human shape forms, but they're beyond that, right? And like that's the whole manipulation part. Because you see, you now going back after seeing the revelation of episode 8, you can see him influencing all these different people to do
Right.
all these different things. That
Wonderful things.
I wouldn't say wonderful. I would just say he's doing these things to get what he wants. Like him being injured, he wanted to go to meet Celebrimbor to influence him to make these rings, right?
Right.
You
Which
know?
we knew that from Lord of the Rings text that was a thing that happened.
Correct. We
Right.
know that he influenced Celebrimbor, right?
And
you
Pharazôn.
could see that. You
So
could see that in
my
their
follow-
immediate thing
right,
of
no,
like
no, I get that.
feeding into his hubris.
I get
you
that.
are
I
the
get that.
Celebrimbor.
But I guess my
Yeah.
follow-up question, and just to keep throwing things in here, just because we live in a physical realm, and that has nothing to do with this. But Halbrand being Sauron, and Sauron having this ability and godlike thing to like take human form.
Sure.
Does that mean we're still going to see Halbrand in season 2 as that?
I think
or
so.
will Sauron ascend and become a bird?
I
for a day.
would say yes, because you have that closing shot of Halbrand at
Mordor?
New Mordor, right? New Door. Not Mordor, New Door.
Is that where all the orcs are just nudists?
Yes, yeah, exactly. But he's at Mordor, right? The
Right, of course.
freshly minted Mordor. It's brand new property.
It's got
at this
that
point.
nice ash smell.
Yeah, it's brand new.
Owner is just vacated recently.
So I feel like that's setting up for season 2 potentially to be him versus Adar.
Okay.
Right, and to take this because we can presume that in the Mordor area it's Adar with those orcs and whatnot.
Adar's his enemy, he said.
Right, and so you would assume he's going to battle him in some way, and then the
Take
orcs will
the
become
orcs.
his.
Take the
I hope
orcs.
they do a Game of Thrones where we end up in season 2 being like, you know what, Adar's not a bad guy. I'm rooting for him.
In some ways, maybe we should. I mean,
boy.
Well, if he's going
he wasn't
against
trying to
Sauron.
be evil. He just wanted to be
He wanted to make a home for
Home.
his children.
his kids. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the worst. thing.
Spoiler alert.
I also
He
wonder,
loses.
I also wonder, Sauron probably doesn't, or Halbrand, if he is Sauron, doesn't have all of his powers back. So I wonder, because again, that implication from the three magical people was, you're going to get your powers back. So I wonder if he only has a fraction of his power. So as we get more seasons, we're going to see him grow not only in influence, but like literal power too. He'll get like new abilities, and maybe that's why he's forced at this point in his journey to rely on things like manipulation and disguises, because he's not fully Sauron yet.
He hasn't made the ring.
Yeah, exactly.
He
Well, the
doesn't-
ring.
So
if,
the
I-
ring
if I,
is.
if I remember correctly, the whole point of the ring is to kind of hyper focus his power, right?
He put all his power into the ring when he made it. So he has a lot of power. He's basically Gandalf for Morgoth, and he's reluctant to give up his mortal form. So Gandalf died and came back. That's basically probably near what Sauron does.
I wonder though, putting all of your power in your ring, right? So like you have all your power. Let's say you get defeated again, which he does. So when you come back in your new form, just throw the ring back on. You get to go.
Well,
Yeah, that's what
they-
he's trying to do.
and
That's-
they
that's the
explained
whole
it-
point of
they
Lord of the
explained it,
Rings.
I
Yeah,
thought pretty.
yeah.
I thought they explained it pretty well in the finale too, when Celebrimbor is like the circular pattern of a crown, and obviously a ring as well, like creates like
Infinite.
an infinite, or it's just like it's a stable form to like increase power. So you get the hints there. It makes sense that someone's gonna get the ring, and that's gonna hyper focus his power.
Right.
And maybe that's why he puts all of his power into it, because it like exponentially increases. Maybe. So I like that they explained that actually a little bit.
Yeah, that was cool.
Junior, your one word impression?
My one word impression is going to be mystery.
Okay.
That's all I have.
That's it?
Thank you for your time.
Okay.
No,
right.
I think the show.
No, you said thank you for your time.
I think the show with the mystery elements of it was kind of one of the biggest defining traits of the show in terms of who are these characters, kind of what's going on. I think the show kind of smartly knew that you had a bunch of different types of viewers, right? You had viewers that were familiar with the movies. You had viewers that were familiar with the books. You had viewers that were familiar with the books and the movies. And I do suppose you probably had viewers, though probably not as many, that were not familiar with anything Lord of the Rings, who might have been a little bit lost. But
What is Modor?
Modar.
I want to find someone who'd never seen Lord of the Rings or
Actually-
knew anything about it and watched Rings of Power.
So
It'd be
re-
fascinating.
Real quick. You laugh at this, but I do know somebody that is not super. I've seen Lord of the Rings, but was not super familiar with like the locations. And you remember in episode 6, which I'll just say it right now. My favorite episode was episode 6 because of the big reveal at the end with the using science to create a whole
Water
new-
and
yeah, that whole sequence great. But at the very end, they launched the volcano. We were all texting and saying, "Oh my God, there's Mordor! Holy shit!" But it's not until episode 7 that the title comes up and says Mordor.
Yeah.
And I know somebody that watches the show and was like, "Oh my God, that's Mordor," and just did not put the two together.
Right.
So I think it's fascinating that even though some people have seen Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
that not everyone is like
Yeah.
nerd.
But I am curious now that the two biggest mysteries have kind of been answered for this season, if they will continue this mystery box formula for season 2 and beyond, or if the show will kind of take a different shape in terms of, it was a pivotal part of the show. Not just for like online speculation, but even the show itself. Like they played with expectations of who these characters and their mysteries, right? And now that those have kind of been answered, will there be new characters that are introduced who also have mysteries? Or does the show take a different form?
I think it'll keep a similar format because we still, episode 7 ended with the shot of the Balrog, having a giant fart. There's also, the king freaks out on Isildur's sister, and then she goes up and, in theory, probably touches the orb that gives you a brain issue. So, there are those things that are still like unanswered in terms of what happens. Also, there's the whole thing with Isildur. The roof fell on him.
Is he still alive?
That's a great question.
It's a really good question.
I was really confused when these last 2 episodes didn't go back to that at all.
Yeah. I mean, to me,
That was
honestly,
confusing.
that's the bigger cliffhanger is because we know from Lord of the Rings that Isildur cuts off the hand of Sauron, which, by the way, in episode 6 or 7, Halbrand and Isildur are like, sup.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they're in the
Oh, yeah.
same that's
Yeah.
so wild.
And I thought they did a good job of, with the camera angles,
Yeah.
making that a significant moment without saying it's significant.
Yeah.
I thought that was great.
I didn't even notice it.
It's
And
wild.
I've been a Halbrand as Sauron from the start.
jump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So our one-word impression sentence would be money, Halbrand, mystery. Sounds like a mystery novel.
Or Halbrand mystery money.
Or
Oh,
Halbrand money mystery.
Halbrand's mystery money. I like
Yeah.
Mystery.
That sounds like
a
a
heist film.
casino.
that. Yeah.
So Sauron should start a casino. That's how he will bring peace to Middle Earth.
Make them all drunk on
Yeah.
Fighting
gambling.
pits.
Not rings, gambling
Gambling.
institutions.
Hey, those quarter
Yes.
machines are addictive.
They really
They
are.
are.
Do you remember the cruise ship?
I do.
How much money? How
I
much
mean, I feel like
I
collectively.
want to calculate it.
I feel collectively it was probably like $250. It was just kind of thrown away.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It is crazy, but it is what it is. Let's go into I want to hear your favorite parts. Like I already said, my favorite piece of this entire show has to be the big, Adar's plan. What was it, and it actually happening? I love those moments where the bad guy wins because it's boring when it's always like, yes, the knights came in and murdered all the orcs and everything is saved and hurrah!
They didn't. They
huzzah."
took prisoners.
Okay, sure, and then those prisoners went and killed them. So
Yeah.
maybe they'll learn from their
So it all worked
mistakes.
out.
But, that big reveal, them able to actually turn the Southlands into Mordor, very, very cool. My favorite part. But what do you guys have in terms of favorite parts? If you have any. You might not.
I think for me, I really enjoyed all of the Harfoot stuff. And I think the reason that the Hobbits in Lord of the Rings and the Harfoots all work within the Lord of the Rings is because without them, you have this very serious fantasy, right? Where it is very dark and it is very gritty, and it's kind of depressing in a lot of ways. So episode 6 was for me, a very imbalanced episode because you didn't have a lot of those lighter elements that help balance out Lord of the Rings, or what I like about Lord of the Rings, right? And I really thought the Harfoot storyline had a lot of that heart and that kind of that touch that a lot of these Tolkien stories have with these very innocent, pure type of creatures. That are, it's an escape in a lot of ways, right? Because you have the men, who are just always going to make horrible, terrible decisions. And you're like, that's real life.
Mm-hmm.
But the Harfoots are the fantasy. They are the escape from, they are kind of this pure creature that will always, will do the right thing. And are kind of the good of the whole world. So I really enjoyed that more than I even thought I would. Especially from the first episode, I was like, oh, here are these halfling creatures. We've kind of seen this before. And even though it did hit a lot of those familiar beats, I did enjoy a lot of it. I did enjoy those scenes quite a bit.
Nice.
It's beautiful. It brings tears to my eyes. If I could cry.
I mean, I agree, actually. I mean, I was shocked at how much I enjoyed or didn't mind. No, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the Hartford stuff. I think for me, my favorite part is, I think, in a similar vein, is all the Elrond Durin stuff. I just really enjoyed every time Elrond was in the Dwarven Kingdom. I thought it looked great. Their interactions were awesome. Elf and dwarf is classic. I just enjoyed that stuff a lot.
Yeah,
And that's why it's my favorite part.
I will say one of my biggest criticisms for the show, which I did like, but I didn't like when there was an imbalance in the episodes when there was like, I like the episodes where they hit on all of the major storylines. The episodes where there was no dwarven stuff or no Harfoot stuff or
Right.
no, none of this or that. I thought those episodes kind of lacked a little bit of balance.
See, I disagree. I think the season did a good job with balancing everything because, again, there's multiple storylines with characters that don't know what the other characters are doing.
Sure.
We know at some point everything is just going to kind of connect. The biggest connection, obviously, was the Southlands and then the Galadriel
Numenoreans.
and the Numenorians all coming together and then sticking together. And then eventually, jumping and connecting with Elrond and the High King and everything again. So the dwarves are doing their own thing right now, presumably with the Belrock. We know that the Hartfords have separated from the Stranger and
Nori.
They're going to do their thing. I think it's done a good job of like keeping everything separate and then connecting when it needs to connect. And I think that makes that's why like episode 6 stands out so much more because it was two stories coming together and like that was a big focus and then that's the big like turning point. Obviously the first turning point was in the first episode when the Stranger lands because that him coming down we see from everyone's perspective.
Sure.
Everyone sees this thing coming down. I think somebody even says like it's about to begin or there's some change about to happen or whatever.
Sure.
So yeah, I think it's doing good. I think it's interesting that you both enjoy the the good, happy aspects of the show, and I'm just like, I like when the bad guys win. It's cool.
But don't get me wrong, I thoroughly enjoy a good, bad guy setting up, winning to set up, huge stakes down the road. You got to have it. So
What kind of stakes? Medium, rare.
I
Medium
just
rare.
think
One
Lord of the
fight.
Rings, it kind of goes back to like the whole Force thing, right? The Force is the balance of good and evil, and I think Lord of the Rings is always at its best when it balances good and evil. With its storylines and with everything that it's kind of talking about. When it goes too much to war, when it goes too much to the happy-go-lucky tales, it's kind of thrown off a little bit. But when you kind of have that perfect mix and that perfect balance, that's when I think it really sings. And it's like, this is Lord of the Rings.
Lotor.
Who here is slightly depressed that we now don't have Lord of the Rings next week? And potentially, we know, unfortunately, the first season took 2 years because of, obviously circumstances with COVID-19 and the world pandemic. It's possible that maybe another year and a half, 2 years before we get anything. I feel pretty confident in saying that, 2023, probably no Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power.
I mean, I think there's a chance. They started filming at the top of October. So, I mean, depending on how long the editing process is, which is probably, based off this season, lengthy.
Yeah.
It's unlikely. It's sad that we won't get it for a while, but I always err on the side of take as long as you need to make sure it's good. Just don't do the whole Attack on Titan thing where it's this is the final season, part 1 and 2 and 3
yeah.
and 4 and 7. And
I was just gonna
yeah.
say, Attack on Titan has really made me patient for things. So I don't mind because here's the thing, right? I don't mind having time go past because it gives you a chance to rewatch previous seasons when you get closer to launch. So I think it's okay to forget and it's okay to have it leave your mind because then you're having that space. When you get back into it, I think it's more enjoyable than having a constant. Because what's a good example is Voltron. Voltron was so fast; it came out almost less months. Each season came out it felt like just months after previous seasons, and you didn't have a chance to breathe and have some space to leave the world. And I think that space is important.
I think the best example is the MCU. The Marvel fatigue, right?
Yeah.
Anticipation builds excitement. When when you're just going from one thing to the next, you don't have time to process it. You don't have time to miss it. You don't have time to really breathe into the world a little bit, right? It's like with the MCU, you jumped from Doctor Strange to Ms. Marvel to Thor to She-Hulk. There's just no break between any of this stuff, right? And even She-Hulk just ended, and then in a few weeks we have Black Panther. Right? So it's just everything's going from one thing to one thing to one thing. and you keep entering this world over and over again, you would. I mean, if Rings of Power was just like weekly for 52 weeks out of the year and just kept coming out and out, you'd
forget things.
you
Burn
would
out
forget
real
things. Like you wouldn't be able to like marinate with it, right? It's like a curry. Curry always tastes better the next day when it's had time.
That's a fact.
When it's had time to sit and
Yeah.
the flavors have had time to marinate. When you have something that you watch and it has time to sit with you, it's better. Think of the Lord of the Rings movies themselves, right? Those things obviously were amazing when they came out. But like if you had done a Rings of Power show a year or two after it came out, would it have been as successful? Would it have been as exciting because you just had those movies? Maybe. Actually, probably. It's probably a bad example. But like you've had 20 years almost between movie release and TV release. So you've had some time to kind of like build anticipation up. The Star Wars movies are like another example too, right? With Solo being like 6 months after Episode 8. Like it was just very quick when like Star Wars used to be like, we have to wait a lifetime,
20
for a new
years.
Star Wars
A
movie.
generation needs to go
And
by.
now it's like 6 months, and you're like, wait, I just saw this one, or I haven't had time to process this, and there's another one out. So you got to build those user habits. Is what I'm saying.
Christian, you were going to say something?
The saying "absence makes the heart grow fonder" is real, and that exists for a reason. So, breaks are good.
Wait, I'm sorry. Christian, are you trying to tell us that you miss us?
No,
He's trying to say that he left.
we haven't had enough absence.
So
Wait,
can miss
absence
him.
the drink? Or
Yeah, exactly. I haven't had enough absence.
we haven't
That's
had
what they
enough.
meant, right? In that saying.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Absinthe makes the heart grow fonder.
I love that.
Also
actually.
melts the brain a
That
little
should be-
bit.
That needs to be our first "Was It Good" T-shirt. That would be amazing.
That would be pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
So let's, getting back into like the nitty gritties of this finale and this season as a whole. I think we all kind of stand that Isildur is most likely not dead. I mean, why also like the other reason I think he's not dead, even though they didn't say anything or whatever, they still showed the flashback of him like being crushed.
Right.
And to me, if the character was truly, truly gone, why show it again?
I mean, we've always heard the old TV adage of if you don't see the body,
yeah,
you're probably not dead.
probably still around.
Just like 9 out of 10 times pretty
Yeah.
true.
right.
So it would be an interesting choice if they killed Isildur and the legend of Isildur was fake and actually done by someone else, or
It was
Like the
actually his
father.
sister.
That would
Yeah.
be.
Well,
that
Well, his
would be
father
interesting.
dies right before.
But maybe that's all a lie.
Yeah.
Well, again,
Can-
to the point that I made earlier, like we are talking Amazon's Rings of Power. We know that they've made big changes from what you've seen in the book to what we have on the show, and that's fine. I don't think it's done a disservice to the show. I think it's great. So again, they could change that. There's nothing to say that because we were told Isildur, a man did it.
Yeah,
that it
I
should
feel
stay
like
that way.
Amazon is also playing with the you've
Five.
seen the movies
Yeah.
type of audience more. Like that's the audience it feels like they're catering towards, right? So I think like killing off Isildur and then not having him appear in these last 2 episodes generate this type of discussion. And maybe to my mystery box element, that's the mystery box element of season 2, right? Where is Isildur, or like what is happening with Isildur, or with that whole character and arc. Maybe that's the setup for season 2.
So season 2 is going to be us pointing at the screen and be like, "That's Isildur.
Yep.
That's Isildur.
Which one
I
is
am
Isildur?
Isildur.
I am Isildur."
Can you imagine the fan reaction though if his sister became the one who killed Sauron?
Oh boy.
Honestly,
People suck.
I think that would be great. I think that'd be really cool. Like the fact that she, is taking vengeance on her brother and, going after the big bad. I think that's cool. But if I had to guess, her going and touching the orb that shows you past, present, future, up, down, timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly, I would imagine the orb is going to tell her where her brother is, and the season 2 is going to be her quest to Middle-earth to find him. That would be my big
Ooh,
guess.
interesting.
Would you call that a main quest or a side quest?
Side quest. Isildur is still side quest person right now. He's over there for the time being.
So see,
I mean,
side quests are
Isildur-
optional. This is
to
not
me,
an optional
Isildur
side
is.
quest.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Juna.
I was just saying side quests are optional, and I feel like saving Isildur would not be optional.
He saves himself.
Well, again, to what we're being presented, and in
Sure.
terms of what the stakes are right now, just because we know or we are told that Isildur cuts off Sauron's hands, to the characters in this world and to the present, that's not important.
Right.
So
That's true. But if you keep that in mind, though, Isildur is sort of like, you got to think the fulcrum for this whole thing, because he not only cuts off Sauron's hand, he goes into battle with Elrond. So we know him and Elrond are going to have some kind of relationship.
Friends
right?
forever?
It's implied that it's friendship. Second, after he cuts off Sauron's hand, he takes the ring and is pretty easily corrupted, which makes you think perhaps he and Halbrand / Sauron are going to have more to do with each other. Maybe part of that corruption comes from the fact that he is swayed by Halbrand, before that ever happens.
You also have to remember,
No.
he's in Mordor right now.
Right.
So if
He's in
he's
Mordor,
alive,
exactly.
he's probably going to be captured by Adar and his men and potentially enslaved, right? So like there is some that could do something to someone, especially we know Halbrand, as Christian said, is heading towards Mordor. So there is
Right.
probably more Isildur, Halbrand / Sauron coming up.
I still think-
Isildur was an orc.
I still think though it's going to go back to his sister and that orb, and I would argue the sister will see where the brother is, but will also see the greatness and leading of his people that Isildur can become, and that through his sister is potentially is where, yes, I got this ring. Yes, I need to lead my people. I need to be a great king. This is how I do it, and that's potentially where that corruption can come from.
When
Let
do
me-
when do
Sorry,
we think
this
we-
is
oh,
the
sorry.
ignorance of not knowing the books and the appendices, but do we know if Isildur's the first king of Gondor?
He is not.
Because he dies shortly after getting the
So
ring.
his father sets up a kingdom, then he and his brother set up a kingdom to the south, and then his father becomes High King. His father doesn't die until the end of the Second Age, where he picks up his sword and kills Sauron. So the interesting thing I think about the show is, how do you keep suspense about these characters that you know the fate
Where
of?
they end up.
Right.
Well,
again-
for
but
people
again-
like us who
but again-
don't know that.
But again.
Yeah, it's the
It's
show.
Amazon's show. They can
Yeah.
do and here's the other beautiful thing too is like I don't think people actually, you know what, maybe people will, but I don't think people will riot if they kind of change some of those
I
details.
think you're wrong. I think you're so
wrong
I
about
mean, if
that.
they do,
People
though,
are already complaining about like the small creative things they've added just from the appendices, which are just notes, right? Like
right.
it's never mentioned that Isildur had a sister. People are like, why do we need this female character?
Or the origin of Mithril.
yeah,
is
like they're like,
not-
why do we
Yeah,
like why
that
do we
never
need
happened.
this? And so it's just like it's a creative interpretation off an appendice. If they now go and change
The actual book.
the actual book,
Yeah, the
You-
entire
There will be-
series.
you will have people that
There
will
will be
will,
blood.
will literally
So
scream
what I
into the
what I
internet for it.
understand though, and this comes down to a legal thing. Amazon / Jeff Bezos spoke with the Tolkien estate to get the rights just for the appendices and some other written materials,
Just
not
the
the actual
appendices.
Lord of the Rings,
books.
the books.
Sure.
And why that is important is because if they don't have the rights for the book and what happens there, then they don't ever have to explain the books, right? So, like, what I'm trying to get at is, like, if in the movies and the books, Isildur cuts off Sauron's hand, there's nothing to say that what we see here has to lead to that logically.
I think Amazon is really playing with the show of you've seen the movies, you
Yeah.
know what's coming. I think that's how they've molded this show.
Yeah.
So to me, it would be really strange if they're like, "Oh yeah, just kidding. Everything you've ever known about Lord of the Rings, it never happened. Bullshit. This is the
Yeah, like
Hey,
Nori's
I-
the one who cuts off.
Yeah, you know,
Bring it on.
yeah." Because but I think that they want this show to lead into that essentially.
They don't want to get everyone so pissed off they
Yeah.
cancel Amazon
And if you
Prime.
remember my bold prediction from the premiere,
Yep.
and then it will lead right into their remakes of Lord of the Rings because they're like, we'll give ourselves 5 seasons to get the full rights. to the books.
I mean, all they have to do is like basically they just have to go to the Tolkien state and be like, look, we are making you so much fucking money. Give us the right.
I mean,
to
look
make
at
you
this from
more
a business
money.
standpoint, right?
Yeah.
If we can prove that we can do this with this will then lead into these big things that will make
Yeah.
us even more money,
Yep.
right? So that's kind of what this potentially is for Amazon. Obviously, it's like their big. This is their biggest thing they've ever done and made, and they've kind of put all their eggs into this basket. But it's also secondarily like,
Do you think they're organic eggs?
yeah. Probably.
Is this the biggest thing ever made?
Yes.
I mean, price wise,
Price-wise,
yes.
yes. From like
And
a
money.
Wow.
from a like
And money.
well, yeah, from like a money, but in terms of like people on camera, no. I think that was like that's still some like show or movie.
I Am Spartacus, maybe?
I think that might be the largest like production in terms of physical human beings involved, both behind and on
Yeah.
camera.
Yeah.
So.
This
Top
show
that, and I'll be
this show
impressed.
certainly has the biggest marketing push ever for a show. I mean, it was on packaging for Amazon
It's still on
packages.
packaging.
Yeah, it was.
Put it
it's-
this way. Put it this way.
every
Jeff Bezos spent $100 billion to get Thursday Night Football just to advertise.
Yeah.
Because the games have been so bad, the only reason to buy it is to advertise for Rings of
I
Power.
don't know if any of you have watched the Thursday Night Football game on Amazon Prime, but it is all Rings of Power ads everywhere.
Because the games are so bad. It's like they knew they were bad, and so the only reason to get it is just to push Rings of Power.
that, yeah, for sure.
Hey, that's
Which is great.
business, bro. That's business.
I'm Jeff
Yeah.
Bezos.
I'm Jeff
Jeff
Bezos,
Bezos,
and I approve this.
Wait,
insane
what
message.
season do we think we're gonna get the Bezos cameo?
We
Oh my
already
God.
did.
He's all brand.
He's in it?
Wow. I like the idea that he spent so much on Rings of Power that it's economical to buy Thursday Night Football so that he can advertise for it.
He's apparently a big Tolkien nerd.
Tolkien nut?
Yeah, like he's a big like that's his like favorite thing.
The
Does
only
it-
Tolkien like nerd that I appreciate is Stephen Colbert because he never is insulting when you're talking to him about it and like you don't know something.
Sure.
He doesn't put you down. Every other like Tolkien person I've ever come across, they're always like, "Yeah, you're an idiot."
Actually,
Yeah, they actually.
Yeah, they actually or like your reading comprehension skills are bad. I know they're bad.
I think you got some issues to unpack there.
Let's go back and revisit
Halbrand.
some bold predictions. So Arjuna already said earlier his big bold prediction for Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power.
I'm more convinced than ever.
The show will be leaded to a Lord of the Rings movie remake. Unfortunately, this could take decades.
Literally.
I don't know about you guys. I think it's confirmed.
What?
Moving on.
How's it confirmed?
Moving on. Christian's was season 1 will feature all 5 wizards.
We got like a second wizard, magical being that died.
That's not a wizard.
Yeah, I know. But
So
I'm just trying to help him out. but he
Krishna
was wrong.
loses all points. No points to Gryffindor.
technically Sauron is a wizard.
Not really. He's more of a man on a mission.
I mean, if Hagrid saw him, he'd say, "You're a wizard, Sauron.
He and Gandalf are both wizards.
Halbrand.
You're a wizard, Halran."
And then mine, I made 2 because I'm an overachiever. One was quality of the show will dip at the midseason. I'm very thankful that did
You're
not
wrong.
happen. Because remember, I made that because I said if I put this out into the world,
It won't happen.
it won't happen, and I was right. So
Oh, you took one for
1,000
the
Even though it was
points-
already determined.
1,000 points for me. And then my other one was Theo will become the mouth of Sauron. So I guess I
Well,
lose points for that because
Ongoing.
That's an ongoing one. It could
Sure.
still happen.
It's not the
Sure.
old dude?
no, Theo was
Theo
the
was
kid.
the
Theo's-
kid.
No, I know, but the old dude looks like he's
The
going to
mouth
be the
of
mouth
Sauron.
of Sauron.
Could be too.
I mean, he's Adar's like Biffle
Yeah,
right
he's
now.
team.
Yeah,
Ada-
but we know he was a
Adar right
Sauron. Like he's like, "You are Lord Sauron, aren't you?"
I'll serve you instead. I'll serve
Did you guys like how he said power? He's like, "The power."
now. Was he French?
But that's how he said it.
The
That's how
power.
he says it to Theo.
I mean, he's crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
that
great.
guy's crazy.
He's a great guy.
Looking ahead, though, for season 2, whenever it drops, what predictions do you guys have? Remember, bold. And remember, we haven't read the books. So
Ooh.
we can do whatever the hell we want.
Rings. That's the bold prediction.
7 of them,
7 for the dwarves, 9 for the humans.
and
I
1
think-
to rule them all.
I think season 2 is gonna be setting up the future relationships that we know are important in Lord of the Rings. So I think Gandalf meets Saruman. I think
Oh.
Elrond meets Isildur, and those are that's my big bold prediction that Gandalf will meet Saruman and Isildur will meet Elrond.
Do you think that that's Gandalf or Sauron? No, it's
I mean,
Saruman.
Saruman.
Yeah,
I think
I
it's
don't read.
Gandalf. Like he has some like the lines that they use specifically in that finale they're too Gandalf-esque, I think, to be Saruman. Because I thought that too. I was like, it would be pretty sweet if this is Saruman.
Or Radagast.
And we're going to see him, But to me, the look of Gandalf and some of his lines in that finale, they're too Gandalf-esque.
And his
I think, for it to
relationship
be
with-
anyone but Gandalf.
His relationship with the Harfoots too, are just too like it's.
Yeah.
It just makes so much sense to
It's
be
so
Gandalf
obvious.
without actually naming him
But
Gandalf.
you know what's interesting? There's like Sauron, Gandalf and Saruman spend a lot of time together, and
Presumably.
I mean,
Like you said, Amazon could do whatever they
right,
want.
right. But that's why I'm wondering, like, maybe it's too obvious that the stranger is Gandalf. Maybe it is a Saruman, and at
mean, it
some
could
point
be.
he dyes.
I don't
his hair
think the
white.
mysteries are supposed
Or
to not be
Radagast.
obvious though. Like I don't think they're trying to.
Yeah.
Like even with Halbrand, like it was obvious, but I don't think they were trying to really hide it either. Like
That's true.
it was a
They
mystery.
just weren't saying it.
Right, they weren't saying it because everything that happens, you do question those things when they happen. Oh, this guy left all these people to die. Oh, this guy like said all these things at the right time to push these characters to doing this thing, right? So it made a lot of sense. The same thing with I'm just gonna call him Gandalf. He's Gandalf. With Gandalf,
The stranger,
right? He everything he does is what we know of Gandalf.
except for killing.
So this is my
things.
bold prediction then for season 2.
Oh boy.
I'm just gonna say the stranger is not going to be Gandalf. And I don't think the stranger is related to Gandalf. I think the stranger is a stranger.
So you're saying he's not an Ishtar, which he was
He's a
already
nobody.
called,
He's a
which is
nobody.
one of the five.
They're gonna
Sure,
kill him
sure,
in
sure.
season
He's
2.
an Ishtar,
So he's related to Gandalf.
but he's the stranger wizard.
So you're saying he's one of the two unnamed wizards?
Sure. Or he's a sixth one. Again, Amazon can do whatever the fuck they want. Like, we don't have to like look at this and confined in terms of what we see in terms of Lord of the
Right.
Rings
Sure.
or with the books. And that's why I'm not saying he's Saruman. I'm not saying he's Gandalf, because I don't know. I don't think whatever he's going to go and do can be a whole new thing that isn't necessarily going to change what happens to Lord of the Rings. It could be very much like, remember in Lord of the Rings, Gandalf runs to some tower and sees some paper that talks about the One Ring?
Sure.
Maybe this is the guy that ends up writing that piece of paper.
Oh yeah.
You know, it could be something as simple as that. Like,
Maybe it's
Star
Gandalf's
Wars.
father.
Star Wars did it right with like Rogue One, where they take a simple line in the
Sure.
crawl and they made an entire movie and now a whole series.
Yeah.
It could be very much like this character is part of just one piece of paper or one line that's mentioned somewhere.
Sure.
He's actually Hobbit size, and the Harfoots are even smaller than hobbits.
Well,
And
that'd be
he's the
wild when
first
that's
Hobbit.
revealed.
They're like literally.
I
this
mean,
big.
I did have this weird theory, and it was kind of disproven within the first episode, but I'm still wondering maybe it works. Is that what we see with the Stranger and the Hartfords is actually not the same time period as the rest of the show?
Sure.
We're doing like a weird time thing,
Oh.
and even though we saw the meteor at the same time, meteors fall all the time. Nothing is to say it's the same one. But again, there's been no other evidence in this season, so it doesn't really make
Yeah,
sense.
I think they also referenced the Mordor stuff, the
sky,
volcano.
the
sky, because some of that affected
Ash.
the land.
Yep.
You know
Yeah.
that they kind of settled into. Then Gandalf revived it.
It's
My
not
bold prediction
Gandalf.
is you're wrong.
No, you already made your bold prediction.
To rewind a little bit to Christian's point, I do like his point of as Gandalf and Nori are going to the land that they could run into some of these other wizards, right? Because presumably, you know, the other Ishtar would also potentially want to go there as well to learn more information.
It's-
If maybe they all dropped at the sky at once, right? Just because we saw the one star and we saw one stranger doesn't mean it wasn't like all of them at the same time that
Sure.
actually dropped.
And maybe when we saw the meteors from the different perspectives, they're all
Different
seeing
ones.
different wizards.
Oh,
falling.
interesting.
Mm.
Well, in the
That makes
third
sense.
age, they send 3 at once. Gandalf, Sauron.
True, but again, we're
Radagast.
not basing.
But that's third age.
Yeah.
That's a ways away. So this could be one of the blue wizards or whatever. By the way, it's Istari. Not
Istari.
Ishtar.
Ishtar.
Ishtar is a movie.
Isn't Ishtar something to do with
Oh.
Stargate as well?
Probably.
Junior, did you have a bold prediction? I forgot.
Well, yeah, my bold prediction was wrong. But
okay,
my
that's
real bold
Oh, we
prediction.
can't do that.
My real bold prediction.
Stranger goes bald.
Stranger dyes his hair white.
My bold prediction for season 2 is that
You're killing Krishna here. He's like literally like he can't even keep a straight face. He's laughing. Spit it out, man. You don't have it. You're like you're just trying to come up with it as you were sitting here.
no, of course I have it.
Oh
I don't
my
know
God.
what you're talking about.
Oh my god, spit it out then.
Okay, my bold prediction for season 2 is that. Why are you looking at me like that?
That's my face.
No, it's not. You're like,
Yes.
what is it?
I'm waiting for you.
You're
to
waiting
get
for
that.
something profound.
Yes.
See, I've had some really good bold predictions recently, and I feel like this one's just not going to be as good because it's just that, we're going to see more rings made in season.
Oh
2.
fuck off.
That's not bold.
I
That's
know.
not bold at all.
I don't actually have a good one. I was thinking about this a lot. Like I don't have a good bold prediction.
Can I give you one then?
Sure, go ahead.
Here,
Give me-
or
give me your
do
bold-
something here. I'll set it up this way.
We're gonna workshop a bold.
We're gonna workshop a bold prediction here. Let's do it something around the Balrog.
But see, I think that was again. I don't think that's actually gonna come into play in this show. At all.
Bold prediction. We never see it again.
I mean, I guess that's my bold prediction. We never see the Balrog again.
I mean, that kind of works.
All right, that's my bold
All right,
prediction.
we never see the Balrog again. Just that one fart shot. He really hates fucking leaves. You threw a leaf down here, you assholes.
I mean, it's
Looks
like
like-
littering. The littering is home. I'd be pissed. How dare they?
That's how he escapes. He saw the leaf and he's like, looks like it's time to make like a tree.
He's
And
Biff.
burn it.
He's Biff
He's
from
Biff.
Back to the Future.
Yeah.
I do like there's also reference to what street birds people called?
The
Ents.
The ants. There's a reference to that where
Well, you see an ant in episode 1.
Do we?
So when the meteors are going, you see
Oh,
the tree.
that's right. We see see some. Yep. Okay. Anyway, hopefully we'll
Oh,
see ants.
that's my next bold prediction. The Ents will be a pivotal characters in season 2.
Will we learn where the Entwives went?
Ooh.
That is
That's
the
season
biggest
3.
mystery of
That's
Lord of the
season 3.
Rings.
All right, Junior's already made a season 3 prediction. I think it's actually pretty bold that Arjuna thinks there'll be a season 3.
There's
Oh,
a 5-season plan for this.
Amazon goes bankrupt.
I mean, that is actually no.
that'd be shocking.
That's not gonna happen.
If they increase spending,
Hey, we thought that about Facebook, and then they had their whole Meta conference
They're
recently.
still around.
and they spent $15 billion last year on the metaverse. Can anyone tell me what that is? No.
Isn't it like
A
VR
waste of
space?
money.
I don't know.
There you go. There you go.
Virtual reality?
I
that
just
what
feel
it
like
is?
it's not for my age group anymore. I'm aged out of that.
Probably. Guys, it's that time. We're going to ask 2 questions. We're going to ask the season 1 finale of Rings of Power if it was good, and if the season overall.
Oh, I thought we were gonna ask what you're gonna have for lunch.
I figured we could order Krishna. Was Rings of Power season 1 good, and was Rings of Power the finale for season 1 good?
Yeah, they were both great. I thoroughly enjoyed the show. I thought the finale dragged a little bit at the end there. It seemed like the goodbye between Nori and her people were trying to mirror like Return of the King. And to me, you got to earn that long goodbye.
Christian, that's Lord of the Rings DNA to drag out
No,
every
no.
goodbye.
Do that. Do that at the end of the last season. If we're gonna get these 45-minute goodbyes in every season, it
wasn't 45 minutes.
Negative.
Krishna, did you
Save
see
it for
the
the end. Save
Fellowship
it for
of
the
the
end.
Ring?
Krishna, it's because she's going to die. Obviously,
Oh.
gosh,
Wow.
she's not
Well,
going
okay then.
back.
If she dies in season 2, episode 1, then fine.
It's not gonna be
Well
episode 1. She's gonna die in the finale of season 2. She's gonna die in Gandalf's hands, and he's gonna have to
Jesus.
return, and he's gonna settle them down, and they're gonna become hobbits.
How is she gonna die if she's gonna be the one who cuts off Sauron's hand? she can't die. Anyway, but no, it was great. I really enjoyed the stuff with Celebrimbor making the ring and Halbrand revealing himself as Sauron. I thought that was awesome. So Arjuna, let me ask you: was Rings of Power season 1 and was Rings of Power the season 1 finale good?
Can you say it like the old guy does? I've already forgotten his name. He says Power.
Power.
I don't think he says power.
He does. Go back and watch it.
Power.
Which guy?
The old guy
that helps
sword.
Adar, who's part of the Southlands.
Oh yeah, Tony or something.
The,
Tony. Let's go,
no,
Tony.
the assistant
name was
to
Mark.
the regional manager.
the assistant to the
Dwight.
mouth.
I can, it's right there on the tip of my tongue, but I can't
Tony.
remember. But to answer Christian's question, yes. The season 1 finale was good, and the season as a whole was good. I really enjoyed it from beginning to end. It's just something that's different than I think anything else that's out there right now. And I think that's why I enjoyed it so much, right? I think obviously there's the comparisons with House of the Dragon, and even though they are both fantasy, they're both like different. And I really like that. I really enjoyed that, and I really enjoyed that one wasn't trying to be the other, right? Like you have the House of the Dragon is a very modern day fantasy, and Rings of Power is a very quote unquote original fantasy, right? And I enjoyed it.
Classic.
And I enjoyed it, and I thought it was really fun, and I can't wait for more whenever that is. This has really made me want to rewatch Lord of the Rings. I think if you guys are down for the holidays, we should bring back the tradition and watch the extended cuts.
Waldrick.
I can't. I usually keep my holidays for Star Wars because I'm a masochist.
All right, so
Ooh.
Lord of the Rings it is this year.
No, because then I'll feel good about things. I don't like feeling good during the holidays.
Ravi,
Hello.
was Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, Season 1, Episode 8, and Season 1 as a whole, good?
After this discussion with the both of you and my heart going back and forth on the matter, I would like to say that yes,
Back
they
and
were
forth?
good.
I was like, did you waver? Like, was there any difference?
No, it was definitely good. I think that the biggest thing, because I was just like sitting here remembering before the show even aired, I was not paying any real attention to any of the marketing or the pressers or any of the interviews. Like I just didn't care. Like just did not care at all. And the fact that this show is definitely like top 5 favorite shows of 2022. Probably the last couple of years, honestly.
Wow.
It is something I could easily just throw an episode on and just be like, I want some, mythical power stuff. I really want to see my good guy Sauron get what he needs to help his people.
Spoiler alert, he loses.
Shut up. You're so negative.
I'm just telling you what happened.
You're such a negative person. But yeah, I think it was great. And again, like it's nice when we get these surprises where it's like this thing is so well done, so good, and like, money well spent, thankfully.
We've
You know.
seen the money not well spent before.
Well, yeah.
Waldrick.
We definitely
There we go. Power.
Waldrick.
Waldrick.
Is that
name's
going to be your
Waldrick?
Halloween costume this year?
It
You just
should
have
be.
to like get some ripped clothes up,
Hey,
be really sweaty.
Waldrick is going to be in season 2.
Is he?
He should be top of the call sheet.
Oh my
The
God.
actor who plays Waldrick.
Let's see if we
Like
can try and get it.
the
Can we-
first credit.
do you want us to try and get him, and you can do an interview with
Yes.
him for the pod?
If actor who plays Waldrick, wow, I'm horrible. I don't even know his name. Please come on to this podcast.
Well, no, we're not going to do it. Like we have
Jeff Morrill.
Jeff Morrill.
we have
Morale.
ways
You're
of going
my
about
hero.
it. Yeah. Is that character like to Christian, like the comparisons like Christian's like love of Click Clack? Is that is
No.
that your
Ooh.
character?
No, I would say I mean he's he's a bad person.
Oh,
but-
he's the worst.
But I do like the actor. I like the performance. The performance is really fun.
okay. All right.
Like if I was an actor and I got to choose the role, that's the role I would choose.
wow. You wouldn't want to be Adar, Sauron, or
No, but that's too intimidating. For me.
Oh,
I want to be orc number 3.
Yeah, I would want to be Waldrick because I get some good lines in there. I don't have to
Yes,
carry the load, and it's just like you could just have a lot of fun with it.
Share the load.
Wow, on time with each other. That's good.
Jeez.
Yeah, being the lead is hard.
Well, with that weird revelation from our Judah that he doesn't want to be the lead, that's going to do it for us here on Was It Good? Thank you for watching, tuning in, listening. As always, you can find our podcast on wasitgood.com. Nope. Yeah, Was It Good? wasitgood.info or on youtube.com/wasitgood, on Twitter at wasitgood, on Instagram and TikTok at wasitgoodpod. Our next pod is going to be on She-Hulk, the season 1 season, the whole season.
Season 1 season.
The season 1 season. That will be coming out shortly, so definitely follow along for that drop. Goodbye.
Bye bye.